Hello, I'm Meg Salyer, and I'd like to welcome you today to a really special Ward 6 Council show. I have with me Ranya O'Connor, who is a superstar in our community. She and her husband, Whitley, co-founded the Curbside Chronicle. And so today we're going to learn all about Curbside. We're going to learn about opportunities to volunteer, and we're going to learn how to help our smallest business owners, small, young, or new entrepreneurs help themselves out of poverty. So Ranya, tell us, how did you bring the Curbside Chronicle to Oklahoma City?
Yeah, so the idea for a street paper, which is technically what the Curbside Chronicle it is a magazine, but we employ people who are homeless and at risk through the sale of our magazine. The idea's been around since the 80s, and so there are over 113 publications like ours around the world. In a given year, they employ over 22,000 people who are homeless and at risk of homelessness. And we just saw the impact that this idea and that this program was having in other communities, specifically in Nashville, because my husband went to Vanderbilt, and they have one of the largest street papers in the U.S. in Nashville. It's called The Contributor. It employs over 300 people annually, and it puts over $5 million of revenue into the community each year through their program. And so we saw the impact that had, and we said, man, that's how Nashville is approaching their panhandling problem. And we knew and we'd seen, it's pretty evident whenever you're in Oklahoma City, if you drive around for enough time, that you see someone, flying a sign that says, hungry or homeless or in need of employment. And we just thought, wouldn't it be beautiful if these people had something more empowering, something that met them where they were? Because we understand that oftentimes people panhandle because they have very high barriers to other types of employment, and they might need a program to come alongside and help them overcome these barriers so that they then can transition on to further employment opportunities.
So talking about meeting them where they are, the first time I think I had the privilege of meeting you, we were both in boots walking through some of the camps. And I remember being so incredibly impressed with your courage and how well you knew folks there, how well they respected you. It was a really interesting learning experience for me. So is that how you recruit vendors to the program?
Yeah, and so recruitment works in a multitude of ways. One way is directly me going out, right, and going to camps, hanging out at our local day center, trying to talk to people, especially in the beginning. I mean, this was such a new idea. It's the first street paper in the state. It's a new idea for this region, because most street papers exist along the East Coast and the West Coast. And so not only did we have to educate the public about it, but we had to educate the clients that we were trying to serve, to earn their trust, that this was something that could be viable for them.
And so your office is actually at the Westtown campus.
Yes.
And you operate under the umbrella lightly of the Homeless Alliance.
Yes.
So you've got the support that you need, you've got access to clients, which is very helpful.
And that was really important to us, being a part of the Homeless Alliance. When we pitched this to Dan Strawn at the Homeless Alliance, was having the support of the other resources there, right? Because homelessness, panhandling, poverty, they're such large issues that one agency isn't going to tackle that. We wanted to try and tackle one portion of that, right? Providing an immediate employment opportunity for individuals who felt like they could do nothing more than panhandle, that they didn't have other attainable employment. But a lot of our vendors do suffer from mental health issues, and they have other barriers that we can partner with these other local nonprofits to help break down on their path towards success.
Perfect. And as you and I have talked over the last couple of months, one of the things that we've really tried to focus on is how we elevate the resources that are going to all of these partner agencies, because we know that there's just not one solution.
Right.
It requires this wraparound care, and I've had the privilege of having Dan and Frank Merrick on one of the Ward 6 programs to talk about how the Homeless Alliance and the Westtown campus came into being. Great partnership with the city. It's been a wonderful relationship. We've spoken to Tom Jones at City Rescue, who does such good work with the population that he deals with. And we also talked to some of your other partners who are our Oklahoma City Police Department's HOT team.
Yeah.
And I'd love you to be able to talk a little bit about that relationship too, as you have time.
Yeah, no, I mean the HOT team is wonderful. I mean, a lot of times, I'm so glad that Oklahoma City has that program now, because it's really helped bridge this gap for relationships between our officers and some of our most vulnerable citizens. And oftentimes, whenever you are in the situation of homelessness, due to your circumstances, it can lead to what some might view as negative interactions with the police, right? If you're trespassing, an officer has to enforce the law there, and it can lead to this this hostility. But really, with the HOT team, with the police creating this program so they can come and work alongside, not just say, hey, you have to move along, but saying, hey, this is the law, but I'm going to help you find alternative avenues, alternative resources. I've really seen a positive just relationships form because of it.
I have too, and I think the word that you use throughout this is so important, is the ability to begin to build trust. And our guys really care deeply. They've become a citywide resource for all of our other officers, but they, carry meals and food and blankets and will take people. I mean, they're taking people to doctor's appointments, and they're taking people to job interviews and things that are so outside what we might think was normal, even community policing. I think it's beginning to have a real impact, and I'm happy to hear you say so as well.
Yeah, and they've also been a huge help of as referring people to the Curbside Chronicle. They have, whenever they see people out flying signs, they let them know that there is this opportunity for them, because even though we do our best, to advertise at the shelters, to advertise at feeds, there are still people in the community that don't know about Curbside, and I get people every week that come to trainings that say, hey, I just found out about this, I've been doing this. And a lot of times, I mean, panhandling can be a very emotional, oftentimes vendors have told me embarrassing experience. Nobody really wants to go out and to have to beg, right? It takes a certain level of putting pride aside and just being in the moment of utter need, right? But with Curbside, and the reason that really, brought this idea to life was that we wanted to give something more empowering to do, something where, yes, you're buying the magazine, you're giving them money and supporting them with your $2, but at the same time, they're giving you something in return. It's not just a I give and I receive thing. It's a I give, you give thing. Right. And so it really equals the playing field, which is what we thought was so beautiful about the transaction. And it also, with our content, we include stories written by the homeless, written about homelessness and other social issues. So it gave them the opportunity to, yes, be a businessman and to support themselves financially.
And a businesswoman I saw the other day. I was delighted to see a young woman in the Plaza District.
Yes, but it also gave them the opportunity to be advocates on their own behalf and to give someone a magazine that they can read stories that they might not even know that these happenings exist in Oklahoma City, that these tent communities exist.
So Ranya, we've had lots of conversation about how we really separate your vendors and those entrepreneurs that are wearing the green vest, which I really want to talk about, who are trained and who are continuing to go through training, who are out helping themselves and creating a value proposition, as you just said, giving something in return for receiving something, versus a perception in any way that some of those folks flying signs are doing it as a business. And so I really want to try to convey that our curbside vendors are trained. They understand what they're doing. They're working to develop relationships and to improve their lives. And so how do you do that? Through training, what do you try to communicate?
Yeah, I mean, first off, we just tried to build a community of support. That's really what's one of the most important things, is that whenever you're in the situation of homelessness, oftentimes it's a situation of isolation. There's a lot of being alone, one, for safety reasons, right? As well as just because a lot of times the general public, because of negative perceptions, people aren't eager to approach you, to interact with you, right? And so many times when our vendors come to us and they start selling the magazine, I hear them say things like, this is the first time that, you know, a regular person, they say, not that that's true, but a person not in that situation would approach them and strike up a conversation because they had the green uniform on, because they had the magazine. Really, it's an entry point for conversation. It's a gateway, and we really hope that our uniform in the magazine provides safety and comfort for both parties to feel like they can interact and that they can bridge this gap that exists. And because of that, we've seen increased confidence in our vendors, increased communication and social skills. And then with that comes this desire to then transition forward, to feel like I am once again a part of the community. My next step is going to be housing. My next step is going to be getting another job, you know, to really make that come full circle.
I have seen it myself, and I've seen the, you know, different attitude in myself and my interactions with your vendors. We've got Kevin down in front of the First National Center who's doing a fabulous job. I guess he's transitioned into housing.
Yeah, he just got into housing last month, which we're really excited about.
It's just awesome. And Benny over on Classen has found a wonderful spot with his green chair. He's doing great. And of course, my favorite of all, who we met together, was Cowboy Gary. He's also doing great.
Yeah.
But you've now got 30 vendors sporting their green uniforms.
Yes, we do. And I brought a uniform just so that people can see. It's a green vest, and it says our logo, the Curbside Chronicle, on it. And our vendors use this to help passerby distinguish them, right? And so whenever you see the green vest in a person sporting magazines, you can know that they've been trained, that they're a part of our program, that they've gone through our vendor code of conduct, which explains, you know, what is aggressive behavior, what is not aggressive, because we really want to make sure that our interactions are positive for everyone, right? And that we can help break negative stereotypes about the population that we're serving. And so, yeah.
I love it. We're about to run out of time, and I promise you that you and I will talk a lot more about this subject. And I want our viewers to know they're going to begin to hear a lot more about the green vests. We're working on a campaign that will really help people understand this distinction and provide the kind of support that we need for those working really hard to help themselves out of this difficult situation of poverty. So Ranya, thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful. We could have talked for an hour and a half, I think, about the subject, and I'll have you come back to share some more success stories. But thank you for being here with me today.
Yes, thank you so much. And then also, I just want to mention real quick that on our website, we do have employment cards that people can print off. It's www.thecurbsidechronicle.org, and you can print those off. And so when you do see individuals panhandling around Oklahoma City, you can hand them that and let them know that they do have another opportunity.
There is a great option. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.